What's happening? All right, I'm back. And today we're going to talk about how to know when willpower is not enough. I had a chance to take a look at when I used willpower, and I realized that willpower alone will not get you to where you want to go. And I'm going to tell you exactly kind of like how I messed up and how you don't have to mess up. All right, let's jump right in. So, I was recently on a coaching call. I actually a couple of coaching calls and just kind of taking in what the coach is teaching on and sharing. And one of the coaches was really teaching on this idea of having stuff, right? And most of us start from a place of having stuff. Anybody want to have something? Anybody want to have a new car, a new house, want to travel the world, want to have a new relationship, want to have flat abs, whatever it is. Everybody, a lot of times we start from having, man, I really want to have that. What do you normally do after you say you want to have something? Come on now, tell me, what is it? What do you normally do? You say, what do I need to do? That's what we all do. Okay, I want to have a million dollar, multi-million dollar business. I want to have it all. Just tell me what to do. I remember some years ago when I was choosing one of my first coaches, and I'm on the phone with him, and he's walking me through. He's asking me questions, and I just say, hey man, so like, what's the offer? Tell me what it is. I told him what I wanted to have. I say, hey, I want to have this. He was like, oh, okay, yeah, you should be able to do that. Now he did not, he wasn't 100% honest with me. He was he because a lot of times you got to tell people, like I would tell you, like I'm going to tell you today, like why willpower is not enough, and what it is we actually have to know before we decide we're going to do something. He sold me the program, and all you got to do is what's in the program. Just do it. Now, here's the thing. How many times have you gotten instructions, did something, and then you're doing it, and maybe nothing happens? Maybe you don't get the results the way that you thought. Well, I thought that when I joined this program, I was going to make $1 million. I thought when I joined this program, this was going to be easier. I thought when I started this business, everything was going to work out. I thought when I purchased this thing that this thing was going to yield a result that I wanted. I thought that when I got into the program to lose the weight that I was going to lose the weight. I just thought that it was going to work. See, when we start from the place of having it and we say, I'm going to do it no matter what. Now, here's the thing. I can tell you straight up. You only get so far. I'm living proof of willpower. I've gotten as far as I am because of willpower, to be honest. Seriously, willpower. As far as I've gotten is because I just pushed. It was today that I think something just went. Phew. What is it? I'm not about to share anything with you that I've never said. But it's sometimes you got to hear something for the thousandth time, and then when you kind of like you got to repackage it for you. Like what I'm talking about is not the way I heard. It's not exactly how it came out, right? Because I'm actually just coming from a place of understanding at this point. That's what you have to do when someone's teaching you something. In order to learn something, you got to be able to understand what they said, so then you can go and become. You got to be. I got to start from a place of being now. All right, think about it like this. I'm 6'3". Been 6'3" for a long time. And so I don't have to do anything. I'm not just 6'3", but I am 6'3". And on a good day, I might be 6'4". So here's the thing. I just know it and I walk in it and I'm just that. Then there's things like, hey, my foot size is size 13. I have a size 13 foot. That's what it is. I've got a certain size hand. I got certain color in my face and certain color eyes. Those things are just the way they are. So it's the same way now. If not if, but when I make a decision that, you know what, I want to do this thing, and I know I'm going to have to do these. I know I want this thing, and I know I'm going to have to do these things. But before I do those things, like, who do I need to be? Who do I need to show up as to easily do those things? It's kind of like, if I'm 6'3", then I just got to show up 6'3". Like, if I'm going to be a multimillionaire, I just got to show up as a multimillionaire. Just show up as one. You just show up as one. You don't show up as a thousandaire. You don't show up as a hundredaire. You don't show up as someone, oh, I grew up this way, and so that's my background. You don't show up that way. You now show up as the millionaire. Well, Jay, how do I show up as a millionaire? I'm asking myself this question too. How do I show up as a millionaire if I'm still working on doing all of that? If I'm still working on it? That's a good question, isn't it? How do you do it? Right? That's the first question. How do I do it? Well, you don't have to worry how to do it. It's kind of like, I'm not focused so much on how to do it. I'm focused on almost like how someone would act. What are the actions? How does one talk? How does one look at people? How does one stand up? How does one dress? Like, there's a number of things that we could then say, you know what? You know how the other day I had what the podcast was, everything. You already know everything you need to know, right? So the questions that we probably have about these areas that we want to get better in, we already have the answers, right? I can look around and say, I've got a book over. I got all these books. I've got all this knowledge in my head. I've got all this information, and it's all sitting right in front of me. How will I know what to choose? How will I know? All right, that's a good question, because here's the simple answer, and then there's a hard part to this. The simple answer is you actually gotta just pick or decide. Pick and decide. You got to pick, and then you got to decide. Now, here's the hard part. It's hard to decide. It's probably easier to pick, but it's hard to decide. It's like, hey, if I've got 400 books and they all have one thing in there that's going to blow me up, can I use all 400 things? No, I can't. What am I going to do? Then that means I probably need to say, you know what? I'm going to punt everything except this one. I'm going to take this one thing from this one book, or these three things from this one book, and I'm going to or this one mentor with or here's the better one. I'm going to sit with my notebook. I'm going to ask myself questions. And I'm going to allow the information that I already know to flow out of me. How do people write books? A lot of time a person writes a book because they allow the information to flow out. Now, here's the thing. They do research. They're going to do an outline. They're going to do this outline. Typically, they're going to get, I want to write a book on this. I'm doing an outline. Then they'll start researching. But a lot of people who write books, it just flows out. I was listening to one author, best-selling author. I mean, he's sold a lot of books, and he's really good at writing. And he said, and one of the things I didn't know about him is what he said, is this. He said, he's been a good writer since he was in high school, since he was in college. Like, that was one of his powers. He wrote for the magazine. He did write. Like, that was his thing. Now, he became an entrepreneur. You wouldn't have known that. But now that he's writing books, it's like he's now using this power that he had from when he was young. He always had this thing. He always had this power. And he realized, man, I'm going to write every day. He writes 4 to 6 hours every single day. I said, man, like, wow. Now he says he does that, maybe a couple of other things every day. He doesn't do a lot of things every day. I said, wow. So people at a certain level, folks that are, say if I wanted to be a hundred millionaire or billionaire, they only do a couple of things. They don't do a lot of stuff. But we've been taught what? What have you and I been taught? We've been taught to multitask a lot of stuff. We've been taught to spread it around, do a lot of stuff when that's not the way. Let's get back to this willpower thing. How to know when willpower is not enough? Here's how you know. When you get fed up. When you say to yourself, you know what? There has to be a better way. That's when you know when willpower is not enough. And that's where I'm at. And I know Jenny was getting on me yesterday. She says, man, you should. I know I'm talking about her and she's going to hear this and she's probably going to get on me. Here's what she says. She says, well, you should relax on Sundays. Well, should? I don't know. I don't know that I should. Even though I did it, I just did it. I did do some relaxation. When I look back on it, I'm just like, well, the reason why I had to relax was because, or the reason why I had to kind of like chill, because I probably was just exerting too much willpower. And I was at the point, I'm like, man, you know what? I've got to change this up. So as we kind of look at this and wrap this up, because this is not a long podcast today, willpower is one of these things that it can work for us. Because a person that is driven, a person that has the ability to stick with something, like me, I'm the kind of person I can stick with something. If I figure out a way to get myself to do something and keep doing it, I'll do it until the hogs come home. Like literally, like the podcast. I'll just jump on here and just start doing it because that's willpower. I'll get down and do the push-ups because that's willpower. You know, I'll go to the gym. That's willpower. I'm using willpower. I said, man, but what if I changed it, inverted it, and then used more of my identity, more of my being to get to where I want to go? Well, that's where time comes in. Because today we're just introducing this topic. We're just talking about the fact that, hey, I've used willpower. I've used willpower to make, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And with willpower, you just kind of keep banging. You just keep banging. But when you literally change and that's where I'm at. And I know, honey, yes, I've changed, but you know what? At the end of the day, you got to keep learning. The more you learn about yourself, the more success in everything that you can, the more success you will have. Because success in being you is all that matters. Not success at doing something, but success at being you. So, Japheth Moore, the healthy accountant, decides today that, you know what? I'm the healthy accountant. I help people to account for their life. I help people to account for their business. I help people to change the way that they think. That's something that I can do. That's something that I am. God didn't make me this way just so that I can sit around and not actually use it. He made me this way so that people can change, so that people can get help. So if you're the kind of person who needs to change how you think, if you're the kind of person who says, you know what, man, I need to take some time to figure out some stuff and I need some ideas, I'm the guy. I know I have that. This podcast is almost like a rendition of a song. I keep singing the same song. Account for your life. Account for your life. That's all this is. It's a song that I'm singing. I'm just talking. So willpower is not enough. It's being. Being is where we start so that we can then do the stuff that that person would do to get the things that that person will have. So that's in essence the be, do, have principle that God set up in Genesis chapter 1. All right, guys, I want to thank you for joining me for this episode of the Account for Life podcast. This is Jay Moore, the Healthy Accountant, helping you to account for your life. God bless, and I'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the Healthy Accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.